Huh?
Yeah, I should do some more practicing. What's going on, guys? RM Games here, back again for another video. And as you could see my little skit in the intro, I can actually play the violin, yeah, but it's been a while, so I really need to do some practicing. But anyway, what I'm gonna showcase to you today, I won't play any more of the violin, but I am gonna showcase to you my Melodious deck. That's right, finally I can actually show you a Pendulum deck here in the TCG format. If you've known me, I'm a huge fan of the Pendulum mechanic, and I can finally show to you a Pendulum deck here in the TCG land, because back in the OCG I've done a lot of Pendulum stuff, but it was really a struggle for me here in the TCG because there are a lot of cards that are important to the Pendulum mechanic which are not legal, so we can't really run those cards. But now I am actually going to show you for the first time a Pendulum deck, kind of, but yeah, it is a Pendulum deck. A Pendulum deck here in the TCG format. Let's go! Oh my gosh, guys, I'm just so excited to showcase to you finally, first time this channel, a TCG format Pendulum deck. And let's just get into it. First and foremost, these are the two pendulums that we are using. These are the best starters, especially Refrain. This can be good, but by itself this is not really the best. This plus another Melodious would be good, but let's talk about Refrain first. Refrain here is the best card to start with. You summon Refrain to add a Melodious monster to your hand, which in this case we always 90% of the time add Couplet. So Couplet here, Couplet, well, when it's added to your hand, it will reveal itself to special summon a Melodious from your hand or your grave. So that is huge plus right there with all other Melodious cards that you have. This combo is always the best one to go to. So with our fusion spells, we actually have a fusion spell that is like a branded fusion where we dump from our from our decks the fusion materials, and that will add value to Melodious Songstress Couplet for its effect to summon. So these are our Pendulum cards, and also on top of that, if they are face up on the extra deck, because that's where the Pendulum cards goes to when they're sent to the grave, if you don't know that. If these are face up on the extra deck and you perform a fusion summon, they will trigger to place themselves to the scales. So summon a fusion monster, trigger these two, do a chain block. So this will place themselves into the Pendulum scales, giving you more value even to these two cards. So having these addition to your deck, to these Melodious archetype, is one of the best things that happened to the archetype. So we have those, 3 of each, and then one of the old cards, Soprano. So Soprano here is a polymerization. Have her on the field, use its effect, perform a fusion summon. And since this is one of the old cards, I'm not really sure if this was one of the old cards, but this, as any of the other old cards, is not hard once per turn. So having 2 copies will allow you to use her effect twice on the same turn. So there are combos where you can spam Soprano, giving you more value and more bodies on the field. And then we are running 3. This, I'm sure, is one of the older cards, Diva Sonata. So Sonata here will special summon herself if you control a Melodious monster, and that is not once per turn, so you can summon them 3 times if you have 3 copies in your hand. And this is also a good card to go to if you want to swing for the win, because this will add 500 attack and defense to all your fairy monsters you control. So imagine having 3 of them, that's a 1500 boost to your field. So that, 3 of those, and we are running 1 of Shopina. So Shopina here is, again, not once per turn, will allow you to add a light fairy type monster from your graveyard. So with our combos, Shopina here is one of the crucial cards that we want in our combos, because this will just allow you to recur your cards, recur Soprano, recur Sonata, or any other of your Melodious cards. And also, since it can target a light fairy type monster, guess what else is a fairy and light in this format that everyone's using? Lancia. This can actually add artifact Lancia from the grave. That is broken. And then to the rest of the one-offs, we have Elegy and Arya. So these are the cards that you want to end with, because this will protect your whole board. Arya here will prevent your monsters from being targeted, and also will prevent your monster from being destroyed from battle. Elegy here will protect your field from being destroyed by card effects. So Elegy with Arya is actually a lock that will protect your field, and that is one of the things I like about this deck, because it's way too easy to bring these out. And depending on the matchup, you can either choose to go with Arya or Elegy. Against the against the Mitsurugi deck, it's always good to go with Elegy. And also, if you have Arya in your hand, you can actually start off with summoning her. That will allow you to be insulated from targeting effects like hand traps before you start off with Refrain. So that is the main monsters for the archetype. And since we're playing a fairy deck, TCG here has 3 legal copies of Orange Light. In the OCG, I believe, since the Dry Chant format, this card is at 1. So maybe that is one of the reasons why not everyone's playing this deck, or it barely seen any play in the OCG format. But in the TCG, since we have Orange Light at 3, this deck makes it even more relevant for the format. So that is our main monsters. For the Melodious main monsters and the honorary member Orange Light, now to the best cards of the deck. 3 of the best fusion card, Ostinato. So Ostinato here is our branded fusion. Self-explanatory. Send monsters as materials from your deck to perform a fusion summon. And since this is one of the old cards, I believe, this card is not once per turn. Ash this and another copy will just make your opponent's life miserable. And then also one of the starters, First Movement Solo. Now among these 2 cards, First Movement Solo is my least favorite, because it will lock you into the Melodious monsters. But that is not the end of the world, because again, this is a pure build. We're running 90% Melodious. So these are the best starters of the deck. First Movement Solo will allow you to summon a Melodious monster from your hand or deck. So if you have Refrain from your hand, you can start with this and summon out Arya. That will protect your Refrain from being targeted for effect negation. So yeah, these are the best spells. And the Melodious Concerto, which we search out with Couplet. This is actually a sick card, because this will give you a draw if a fusion is sent to your graveyard. So we're only running 1 because we will always have ways to recur this card. So again, if a fusion summon if a fusion monster was sent to the grave, Melodious Concerto will put itself on the bottom of the deck. I will give you a free draw. So, and also you can see Elegy and Arya there, which is so nice because it just fulfills the purpose of the deck, or the purpose of those 2 monsters in that case. So yep, that is actually the main monsters and spells and the whole engine. And I think that was just 25-ish cards. So that means we have so many rooms for non-engine. And to start off the non-engines, Fualos, of course, Ash Blossom, Ghost Bell, Infinite Impermanence, Thrust into Talent, and Call by the Grave. Always good to draw Call by the Grave, because that means you're resolving your best card in the deck. And that is the main monster zone. I mean the main deck. I keep on saying main monster zone. But anyway, now we're going to the extra deck. So first, I'm gonna start with the Link monster, the only Link monster in the archetype, Harmonist. Harmonist here will allow you to discard and summon 2 Melodious with different levels. So that means we have an easy summon for these 2. Imagine that. Ending with these 2 is just is even enough without doing anything else. So blue only 1 because we don't really need to go to her all the time. And then we're running 2 of Etoile. So Etoile here is our main interruption during opponent's turn or even in our turn. This will also protect us from Nibiru. So what Etoile can do is to banish a number of Melodious cards, monsters. So you can banish yourself and the rest of your Melodious monsters and then return that number of cards on your opponent's side of the field. So that means if they activate Nibiru and Etoile is live, you can just banish everything and then return them back during your end phase. So that is one of the best cards that you want to end with. So 2 Etoile, 2 of Shiberda. Shiberda here is an additional interruption because Shiberda will allow you to banish monsters, or was it monsters or cards? Oh, cards. So you can actually target cards in either graveyards up to 3, banish them. And again, this is not once per turn, so you can actually end with 2 and have two interruptions, banishing up to 3 during your opponent's turn. And also one of the nifty things that you can do is when you use Shiberda and then during the same turn you use Etoile, banishing both, and on the end phase both will return to your field, which means your Shiberda again is now live. So before the turn ends, you can still have value from Shiberda, which is sick. And then we have 3 Baka. By the way, fun fact, this archetype, like if you notice their names, they're actually musicians. If you notice, her name's Baka or Bak, the violinist Bak. So this is Baka, Shiberda, of course, a musician. But yeah, and many more. Also, their main monster, main deck cards that are referenced into music. So yeah, just a fun fact. Anyway, so 3 Baka, this is our starter. So this is the first fusion monster that you want to fuse into. This will allow you to summon 1 Melodious monster from your deck, which is usually in our combo. We usually bring out Chopina. Chopina here will do the recursion for you throughout the combo, or even bring out Arya if you want to protect your field out of Baka. So yeah, that's what Baka does. That's why it's at 3, because its sole purpose is to start off your combos, and we want to go into Baka most of the time. And then we have the 1 Bloom Diva Choir. So Melodious Choir here is just one of your utility cards that you want to summon out, because most of the time your opponent will have a hard time outing this card because it doesn't get destroyed by battle or card effects, and you don't take any damage involving this card. On top of that is that when this card battles a special summon monster, after the damage calculation, you can actually inflict damage to your opponent equal to the difference of the original attack from that card and this. So this is originally at 1000, which has purpose because if they swing with a 3k, that's a 2k burn. So that is a good utility to go into. And then imagine having Diva Choir along with Elegy and Arya. That is a tough board to break. So those are the fusion cards. Now into the Link monsters. So first, our Link one is Haggard Lizardos. I forgot to mention earlier that our spells can only be used if our field is empty. So Haggard Lizardos here, its main role is to empty your field. So if you have a monster, just use it as a material and then banish along with Haggard Lizardos, and then it will give you a plus and empty your field. So that is its main purpose in this deck. And then Gravity Controller. So remember Concierto. So Concierto here, let's say you summon Baka. It's important that you summon Baka in the extra monster zone. So just in case your opponent managed to stop Baka's effect, you can always use it as a material for your gravity controller, in which case will trigger Melodious Concerto, giving you a plus. So that is why it's so important to have Baka, the extra monster zone, so we have value over gravity controller. So that's the one gravity controller. Of course, SP. If we're out of the luck, we can always go into these cards. SP is always a good utility. And then we have Herald of the Mirage Lights. So this is also a good card since we're playing a fairy type deck. And of course, Underworld Goddess of the Close Roads. So having this in your field is an easy link 5 into Goddess. And yeah, that is the extra deck, and we'll sum up our Melodious deck profile for today. Thank you so much, guys. So I'm just really happy that I was able to snuck in a TCG Pendulum deck, which is also pure. So it's really refreshing to have a pure Pendulum deck, because back in the OCG we just shove in all those cards that supports the Pendulum mechanic and call it a Pendulum deck. And yeah, I'm just happy to have this, and it may not have the best art because I'm not really a fan of, you know, those purple, orange, or green, pink skin. But yeah, I don't know why I said that. And that is it, guys, for our Melodious deck profile. If you needed more Melodious contents and Pendulum contents and anything Yu-Gi-Oh!, please do like this video, hit that thumbs up button if you have more suggestions on what to do, how to build this deck, or how to build any deck, or if you want me to make a deck, especially in the rogue category because we're broke. Please do leave in the comments section below, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And thank you so much, guys, for everything, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.